All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get our PLC going for today. I'm going to start off by reading the norms. So here's some things that we believe. We believe, and this is my favorite one, the learner is at the heart of all decision making. So we're here for them. We got to always keep that in mind when things get tough. We also believe that all students can learn. We believe in being passionate about learning. We believe in engaging student-centered inquiry and research-based instructional strategies. That's a good one. We also believe in innovation rather than stagnation. And we believe in teamwork makes the dream work, which is Ashley's personal favorite.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good deal. So what we're going to discuss today is an exit ticket that we all gave yesterday. The objective that we covered was identifying the superheroes and Avengers, and then also explaining each of their abilities. So how did the exit ticket go yesterday? What were some things that you were noticing about your students?
So, my students seem to all show mastery. Out of the 30 kids I have, about 28 of them did fine, did well. They were able to identify and explain each Avenger and explain like their role. And so I had about 2 kids that just didn't get it, but my kids mastered it. They were
Two? You only had
Fantastic.
two?
Wow, that's
So my
okay.
class-
That's okay, Miss
mine-
Creative.
They don't have it, so that doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah, mine, I did not have those kind of results.
Well, you have the
I
ESL.
have the ESL and the sped classes. So, I had a lot of kids who were struggling just to master the first part of the objective. So they were struggling with even identifying the characters. And so I feel like I definitely need to be able to go back and do some stuff with them with that. Of course, there's always the few. So I have some kids who completely mastered it. They know the characters, they know their abilities, they're super stoked about it and excited. And so, I definitely have some of those kids who got it for sure. But I would say the majority of my kids are still struggling with just the first part of the objective.
Okay, in all of your classes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say the biggest chunk of mine, like they got the identifying, but they struggled on explaining the superhero abilities.
Mhm.
So that's where most of mine, I mean, I had a few who were still struggling with identifying, a few who got it all. But most of mine, I'd probably say 90% are struggling with the explaining the abilities.
Okay, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I've got a really big chunk of kids who are struggling with the explaining the abilities, and then I have, a few at the bottom that just they can't even identify. So I think we're kind of in the same boat here. Okay, so we know that we do have some students that are struggling with the basic identifying. So maybe we should talk about that in our tiered lesson.
So I was kind of thinking, because, I was watching them start to struggle and really seeing that it was a problem for my kids specifically. I was thinking it would be really great to have some type of visual for them. So maybe a card sort that they could work through. So having the pictures and then being able to do kind of a sort and match with that, I think would be helpful. Just for some of those kids who have the language issues and just memory retrieval problems, I think that would be helpful.
Awesome.
And to have kind of that teacher there with them, so that maybe being the area where we stay with them, and kind of work through that with them,
Cool.
through the strugglers.
Okay, do you want to take care of that part of the lesson?
Absolutely, I would love to.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Okay, so what do we think about the level 2 activity? We kind of had kids, a big chunk of kids in level 2. What are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I felt like the struggle was the connection with they could identify abilities, but the connection of explaining whose abilities were what and what that meant. And so if they had something where they could write, you know what I mean, but something that prompts them, gives them clues. So maybe a sentence stem, a sentence stem, yeah.
Okay.
To kind of guide them through their thinking.
Okay.
That would help.
I think that sounds good. I think it's important too that we provide them with some resources there because we do have a teacher-led station.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that when we can't be with those level 2 kids that they have something that they can reference.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure we don't forget about that for the level 2.
This tier, they're able to do a little bit more independent work, but they're still, they're easily distracted sometimes. And so we need to be able to, maybe we can even embed a part in that level 1 where, we build in kind of a break for ourselves. So like we give the kids some independent time to work on the card sort in tier 1 so that we can go kind of check on tier 2, make sure they're doing okay.
That's a good classroom management point to remember. We gotta, so we can kind of toggle back and forth between those two groups.
So what if we had like, I don't know, I'm just thinking like maybe like a couple of like links to like the trailers of the different movies, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because like, they could like look at the trailer of Iron Man and to help with like figuring out like what his ability is and Captain America.
Yeah. Okay.
But
so
like not a ton because I don't want it to be like distracting.
we don't want to overwhelm them either, because then they're just not going to know what to click
And they're just be
on.
like, oh, I'm gonna watch all the trailers.
Right.
Okay, so maybe since we have the biggest chunk of kids in the level 2, maybe we could tag team that.
Yeah.
One of us do resources, one of us do sentence stems.
Okay.
Which one would you like to do?
I'll put sentence stems.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do the sentence stems.
I'll put some resources together then. And
Want to have a rough draft? Do you want me to send it
yeah,
to you?
please,
And then
that'd
we
be
can 2 sets of eyes just to make sure like.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be good. Okay, cool. All right, what are we thinking about the level 3 activity?
So my students are able to identify and explain. So I'm thinking maybe we should try to go deeper with that and maybe put together like a concept map where
That's good.
The kids are analyzing like all of the Avengers and showing how they relate to one another. So they're able to identify and explain. So now they're talking about the relationship or the relating of one Avenger to the next.
I really like that, and I think that it's important too, like we could bring in there kind of some like real world applications, like you can't do everything on your own, right? So like none of the Avengers were strong enough to do everything, right? They needed their partnership. So like bringing in that you need that interconnectedness of all these people in order to,
That's a good,
teams work better when you have people who are balancing out skills and strengths.
It's a good higher level question
Yeah.
for them to answer, Yeah, I like that. So Crystal, you want to take on the level 3 activity?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So far I have the level 1 activities and matching cards. Kendra's going to do that. The level 2 with the sentence stems and the extra resources to help with remembering the superhero abilities. That's going to be us. We'll tag team that. And then level 3, the concept map will be Crystal.
Yes.
Okay, so our tiered lesson day is Thursday. Today's Tuesday. So if we could maybe check in through email some point tomorrow morning, see where everybody's at. And then whose turn is it to make copies?
Here, let me check.
I think it's mine. Oh, it's not mine?
Well, it says here the month of August is actually.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean, you can make them if you want.
You go ahead. It's your turn. It's
Definitely not my turn.
Okay.
And I said no.
Okay, so if we're doing this on Thursday, like, could you email me your final version by like tomorrow, end of day, and then I'll make them after school. Make sure inside I put final version.
Yeah.
Did you make the card stock?
Yeah, I think everybody should have cardstock.
Yeah. Oh, when do we have time to cut?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
So how many sets are we're all gonna need to cut?
Could we get it to you by lunch in conferences?
Yeah, I can get that one too early and then we
Okay,
can
we'll
cut
do-
during conference.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll just see, pull some strings on the copier,
Cool.
but see what we can do.
Okay.
We'll try and make it happen.
She likes you. So.
Give her
Just
chocolate.
sweet talker, give her chocolate. Yeah.
So I have one question.
Yes.
What about my 2 kids that they couldn't even identify or explain? What do y'all kind of recommend I do for them?
I think that, that's where your tier 1 focus is gonna be. Like you'll be lucky, right? Because you have such a smaller group to work with in that tier 1. Like I'm gonna have a little bit bigger group. So I think that'll be good, and like for me, I'm gonna have some class periods where like my tier 1 is larger, right? But like some class periods I only have a few kids in tier 1. Some class periods I might not have a tier 3, like depending on how big that tier 1 was, right?
My
So-
fourth period.
So I think we're just gonna have to be flexible with it,
Okay.
and just kind of each period kind of switch it up a little bit depending on what your kids need.
The needs. Okay.
But I'll make copies based on the numbers
Right.
Okay.
that are in there. And if you have extras, you have extras.
Okay.
I really have too many.
All right,
That'll
sounds
work.
good. Cool. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Woo!
Yes.
Okay, thanks guys.
Bye.